Welcome to Justice, a lawyer's hangout, where we dissect legal issues and educate the public on the law. I am Chizaram Lilian Oyinke, and with me here today are my colleagues, Mr. Amadi Ebenezer and Mr. Fortune Toma. Thank you for being here. Thank you. On today's episode, we'll be discussing contractual mistakes, contracts being part of our daily lives, from tenancy agreements to business partnerships, employment offers, and even record label deals for aspiring artists. But what happens when you realize that you signed a bad deal or there was a mistake in the agreement? Can you cancel it, or are you stuck? Now, that's what we're here to unpack. Now, Mr. Toma, we want the viewers to understand the concept of a contractual mistake. Now, let's start from the basics under the Nigerian law. What really counts as a contractual mistake, and how is it different from simply making a bad decision or regretting a deal?
All right, thank you very much.
Yes.
Good afternoon, Nigerians.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for being here.
Beautiful concept in law.
Right.
You know, we're taught in 200 level that there has to be an offer and acceptance, and then parties are sealed into a contract. So the concept of contractual mistake, and if I got you correctly, how we distinguish it from bad decisions or just poor judgment. So in law, contractual mistakes speaks to making a situation where you make, or parties to a contract take a decision or enter into a contract on the basis of a false information, an information that was false but not known to them. Right. And I think one critical thing that differentiates it from bad decisions, like when, say for example, you want to buy a car and maybe it's a second-hand car, and then someone tells you it's 8 million.
So people call that buyer's remorse, and they tell themselves, oh, they don't want to.
Exactly. Just poor judgment. Or you see a better deal tomorrow, like, I made a mistake. Right. That's not the kind of mistake. Mm-hmm. So a contractual mistake occurs where we have a situation where in a contract, one of the fundamental things that makes the contract exist in the first place is found out to be false or to be wrong or to be non-existent. Say, for example, you are entering into a contract to purchase land the government has acquired. Right. That obviously is a mistake. That is nobody's fault. So that is the essential point around contractual mistake. And as I said, you must be able to take it away from the question of, say, you made poor judgment, or it was a bad contract or a bad decision, buyer's remorse. Right. So I believe that summarizes it.
Exactly. That distinction is very, very important. Like you mentioned, the law doesn't really rescue you just because you made a poor business deal, like you just made a poor business choice. It only steps in when it's a genuine mistake affecting the agreement itself. Thank you so much, Mr. Toma, for mentioning that. So, Mr. Madi, now, could you break down the different kinds of mistake recognized by law, like mutual mistake, unilateral mistakes, and how does each one affect, whether there is a contract, whether the contract remains valid or not?
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes.
So we actually have different types of contractual mistakes. Right. Number one, like you mentioned, is the unilateral contractual mistake. And it occurs when one party in the contract was given a false information or had a false assumption before entering into agreement. For instance, in a situation whereby, let me say, Mr. A wanted to, wanted to buy a car. Now, he had the information that the car is, let me say, a Mercedes.
Right.
You understand? But the other party, the car the other party is offering to sell is not a Mercedes, it's a Honda. You understand? Okay. And they entered into that agreement. So at that point, there is a unilateral mistake because the buyer does not have the right information of the exact car that the seller wants to say. Yes. So at that point, it is voidable.
Right.
It is void.
Right.
Because it goes to the fundamental of the issue. Then the second one is mutual contractual mistake. It is mutual means that the both parties, they had that false assumption of the issue. For instance, let me say the two parties, there is an agreement to sell a house or a land to Mr. B. Now, after reaching the agreement, unknowingly to both Mr. A and Mr. B, that is the buyer and the seller, the house at that moment does not belong to Mr. B. Maybe just like the example he gave, is a government acquired property. So, and the two parties are not aware of that. Yeah. So, at that moment, there is a contractual mistake, and it makes the contract void.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I also believe that it's depending on the type of mistake, the court may treat the contract as void.
Yeah.
Avoidable. Yes. And so, which is why, like I said, but that's why we're here. Which is why proper legal advice is key. Now, Mr. Toma, in what situations can the law actually allow someone to cancel or rescind a contract because of a mistake? And what would they need to prove for the courts to agree?
Okay, so I think the question is answered from some of the statements that we've made from your earlier questions. And the first and most important situation is that the mistake is so fundamental that without a correction of that mistake, the contract will be useless. There will be no point entering into such a contract. In fact, you may even say that where there's such a situation where there's the subject matter of the contract is, say for example, non-existent. Maybe there's a court judgment that has come to say, I don't want to use the example of a land again, or that has come to say Dangote is no longer the owner of Dangote Industries Limited. And then he has, on the basis of his belief that he owns Dangote Industries Limited, entered into certain contracts. Obviously, those contracts can be void as a matter of fact, or as a matter of the mistake, the contractual mistake. So essentially, that's the most critical ingredient. When the root of the contract, the subject matter of the contract, is so different from what was contemplated, such that if proceeding along with the contract will amount to injustice or will make no sense, then that is the most critical ground through which the courts can now say, okay, there was a mistake. So, if I got your question correctly, your question extends to
what would they need to prove for the courts to agree that the contract was cancelled or rescinded, or it was by mistake?
Yeah, so it's just a matter of proving that it's not that what was the word
when the mistake is, like you mentioned, the mistake is when the mistake is fundamental.
Yes, but there was a word you used, buyer's remorse.
Buyer's remorse, yes.
Say for example, so you have to prove that this was not a function of poor judgment in buying. And of course, it is on him who claims, the person who is alleging that there was a mistake of fact or even of law. Because mistake could also be of fact and of law. So where you can actually prove that, where you can come and show that, okay, there was an actual mistake, then yes, of course, the courts will be glad to give ruling in your favor.
But I also want to add just one more point. Like, the mistaken party also must prove that the contract they signed is not what they thought it was. I think that was what you mentioned, and enforcing it would be unjust. You mentioned that. Mr. Amadi, I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
Yeah, just to add to what you already said.
You said, yes.
The party will just have to establish that the fact is fundamental. That is what actually the court will look at before such contract will be declared void. The facts must be fundamental. That means it goes to the roots of the case. So if, like the example we gave, you wanted something, let me say you wanted this particular car, and that was the intention. In law we call it consensus ad idem. So if there is no consensus ad idem at all, that means it is fundamental. The issue is fundamental, and the court will declare it void.
Okay, talking about entertainment law, because we know we see this a lot in entertainment industry. Now, Mr. Madi, now let's bring it back to that. Now, how do courts typically handle disputes involving mistakes? We've talked about land, tenancy agreements. I'll talk about employment. Now, employment or even entertainment contracts, like when young artists later realize they've unknowingly signed away their rights. Now, how does the court come in? How do they handle this situation?
Okay, now, first of all, we need to understand that there is a difference between contractual mistakes and poor judgment.
Poor judgment?
Yes.
Okay.
Poor judgment or buyer's remorse, like some people call it. Okay, let me just explain this. When it has to do with contractual mistake, there is a false belief.
A false belief?
Yes.
Okay.
By one of the parties or by both parties concerning the facts of the case. Maybe it may lead to maybe fundamental fact, for instance, the identity of the parties or the identity of the subject matter or existence of the subject matter. These are fundamental issues in contract. Whereas for poor judgment, it's just basically a decision that was made out of
desperation
or lack of proper information
or market research
research. You understand? So at that moment, it does not make that contract void. It is not contractual mistake. And bringing it down to the entertainment industry, mostly what occurs is not contractual mistake. It's just people that just sign what they want because they are desperate. They want to blow. You know, a lot of people, a lot of artists are desperate.
Of course, and I've seen a lot of artists sign away their lives.
They just sign away. What they do,
but not in all cases though. I know that it's a double-edged sword.
Okay.
And
why do you say that?
Both parties have a share of the blame. So I've seen situations. I mean, I wouldn't call myself an IP lawyer.
Right.
You know, and I've had situations where some I've had to refer out, but some I've had to handle. Where clients have reached out to say that the record label misrepresented a certain fact deliberately, like a one-sided mistake. In a unilateral mistake, like the example you gave of a unilateral mistake. That's just clear-cut fraud. And yes. So a situation where a record label just tries to tell them that don't worry, they have maybe 40% of this, that, and anytime they want to leave, they can leave, and give some other funny terms, like terms that will make sense. And then you have the young artists say, okay, maybe there's some extreme terms, but okay, they can cope with that. Meanwhile, embedded in that same contract will be much more grievous terms, you know, against such a young artist. It's stuff like needing to want a greater percentage of royalties for life, like in situations where, in certain situations where maybe the record label is no longer involved in the artist's business. You know, so it's a double-edged sword. It's like two sides of the divide. It's, you have a situation where yes, there's the concept of mistake as different from buyer's remorse or making a bad deal. And then there's the flip side, which is mistake for as opposed to fraud. You understand? So a situation where, as for entertainment, for instance, now as a record label owner, I am deliberately omitting a fundamental fact to this guy when I know that single thing alone it has a potential of ruining or cancelling the contract, but I leave it out just so that I can get the contract signed. Then that's fraud, and that's different.
Okay,
let me just I was already
yes, of course,
you know, because this issue involving record deal is something that is very rampant in Nigeria. I am an IP lawyer, I do entertainment, and I have advised a couple of artists. There is something fundamental which is actually unique among upcoming artists, because this whole issue starts with upcoming artists. All of them are desperate.
Okay.
Because let me tell you something. Let me use Ashake as an instance. Ashake has been doing music for over 5 years, releasing songs. but nothing was going on until he signed the deal or something like that.
Right.
Last year also, there was an issue. He wanted to leave. So the thing is this: desperation is always the major problem. We can see it from people like Mubad. He had an agreement.
I think Whiskey too had the same issue.
Yes, Whiskey and
with Banky W.
Yeah.
I think
Whiskey had the same
too.
issue. He had issue with Banky. I think his own. They told him to record, I think, 10 albums or something like that.
Yeah, and I think most of the albums, Banky W still has some royalties.
The thing is this: that's why you need a lawyer to review your contract.
Yes.
But the thing is this: these artists, they don't know the importance of lawyer. That's number one.
Right.
They think they just want to sign and make money and blow. So what happened is, when they now start, when you are growing, you start getting value. You understand that
the experience you not start seeing
when you give someone that does not have 20,000 naira, 100,000 naira, you appreciate it now.
Yeah.
But now, when the person starts making money and he understands that I am making money now,
and he's offering value.
he wants more. You understand? He now wants more, and he now feels you have cheated him all along.
Yeah.
That is just the cause of this issue. And like Osofia said, agreement is agreement.
Are we saying that if they take this matter to court, what would the court say?
No.
And I feel like that's where everyone is having a problem. They want to know, what would happen.
What would happen?
Yes.
Now it depends on the issue.
At hand.
Each fact is peculiar.
Okay.
Yeah. Is there a contractual mistake? You have to establish that, whereby there is a false statement that was made which you believe. But in a situation whereby an agreement was made, you saw the agreement, you read it, and you signed it, you can't say it's a contractual mistake at that particular moment. Unless you will now say issue of maybe undue influence. But these are things you will establish before the court. The court is not the court will not make the contract for you. The duty of the court is to interpret the contract.
Situation.
The contract. Interpret it.
Yes.
So for me, the issue of record deal is very deep.
Yeah.
Artists should understand that record deal or entertainment is a business. People invest a whole lot of money to promote you. Like this person said it, Timaya said it the last time, that for you to blow now,
right,
one song, you need nothing less than 50 million naira.
It's almost like contesting an election now. They are running politicians.
Oh really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Even Don Jesse said the reason why he takes time to sign artists is because when he's about signing an artist, he's already thinking about investing 150 million naira
at the get-go.
So you don't expect someone to invest such a huge amount of money and
not make marginal
money.
returns.
That's why the issue of ownership of masters comes in place.
Okay.
Ordinarily, it's the record label that owns the masters,
Yes.
except where there is a clear agreement
that says otherwise.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's always advisable you get a lawyer to review your contract and negotiate. There is always an option to negotiate. It is not automatic that once you get the record, the contract you sign.
Yeah.
There is option for you to negotiate. You can negotiate, including the royalty rates.
Right.
Maybe it's from some will give you 70-30, some 80-20, some even 50-50. So you can negotiate and see what you can benefit.
And like you mentioned, that's why you need a lawyer.
Because
you can't do these negotiations on your own.
You can't.
Yes.
Let me tell you, there is one that happened recently with an artist. It was a publishing agreement. There is a record deal agreement. There is publishing agreement with publishing companies on how to publish your music and you get. So it's a very popular publishing company. So when he sent me the agreement, he said I should read it and that you need to sign it in the next 1 hour. I said, what are you talking about? We're talking about 20 pages of contract that is going to take you 3 years to
renew
to renew, and you want me to review it for you within 1 hour. I say you are not serious. Do you understand me? So the thing is that some of they are not even, and for someone to tell you just need 1 hour to go through it, that person, what it means is this person has already made up his mind,
yes,
to sign. He just
more or less a formality.
Still boiling down to desperation.
Yes, desperation.
And not knowing your rights. So I always advise in anything, not just artists, any agreement, whether it's tenancy, land agreement, business agreement, you need a lawyer.
Yeah.
Including employment contracts, because a lot of people get into employments and they are stuck.
Yes.
They're stuck.
Yeah.
You need to do that. There was one that happened, is an employment, they wanted to sponsor him for a course. But then they are giving a condition. So when the person informed me about the whole issue, I said, no, sponsor yourself for the course. For them to sponsor you and the condition, it means you are going to be tied down in employment. So it's better you borrow money and do the need, train yourself, sponsor yourself, and find your ground.
Right. Yeah. Yes, that's a very great example. You know, many times the law looks at whether both parties were mistaken about the fundamental facts, like we've been mentioning since, or whether one side simply failed to read and understand the terms.
Due diligence.
Due diligence.
Just simple due diligence.
Due diligence, yes, of course. Thank you so much. Now, we'll go on a short break and we'll be right back.
The land we call home, the source of our life, our food, and our future. A conflict that tears at the very heart of Nigeria.
We see the pain, the shattered lives, and the broken trust. But what if we could mend what is broken?
LJE Nigeria invites government officials, traditional and religious leaders, farmers and herdsmen representatives, security agencies, civil society organizations, international development partners, and the general public to a 2-day national conference themed Securing Nigeria's Future, addressing the root cause of herdsmen-farmers conflict through justice and inclusive dialogue. Date 30th September to 1st October 2025. Venue Shehu Musa Yaradua Center, Abuja, Nigeria.
Join us as we address the root causes of this conflict through inclusive dialogue.
We will not just talk.
We will listen.
We will not just debate.
We will seek to understand.
Together, we will find solutions.
Welcome back to the conversation. We are still on the topic contractual mistakes and how to cancel a bad deal. Now, Mr. Toma, now this next question is for you. Now, sometimes people confuse a mistake with misrepresentation or even outright fraud. Could you kindly please explain how the remedies differ, especially in industries like entertainment, like we mentioned before the break, and where upcoming artists are often misled into unfair deals?
It's almost like we're prophets. These are some of the things we're speaking on.
Right.
So, and I think I was emphasizing fraud, how fraud is surely different from contractual mistakes, and we should shy away from trying to marry them or misrepresent themselves.
Yes.
Let me use the word. So you have a situation of misrepresentation. You and I, let's use employer-employee relationship. I have a startup and I'm a founder, and I reach out to you to say, I want you to be my co-founder. I want to hire you. But then I tell you that we have a minimum viable product. We just want to keep iterating. We have like the software is ready. We just need to work on it, develop on it. And you're a tech guy and I want you to join as a co-founder. Yes. So there's a contract of employment between us, and I'm not even paying you. And then you come in and you find out that we've not even started. We don't even have a team. We don't have a design product. You know, the tech guys will understand. We don't have a product designed. Talk more of by having a minimum viable product, an MVP. So that's a fundamental. That's not a mistake in such a situation, because I knowingly, as a co-founder, lied to you that we have an MVP when we do. That's misrepresentation. I misrepresented the fact. Now you came in happily quitting your job, Seth, to come and join me as a co-founder without pay, but on the belief that we already have an MVP. We just need to scale up, and very soon we'll be at funding. So that's clear-cut misrepresentation, and dare I say fraud. And you can on that basis sue that, or even ask that the contract be rescinded. So that is a clear-cut case of misrepresentation and fraud, as opposed to a mistake. Say, for example, I am still a founder and I want to hire you as a co-founder, and say maybe we want to raise some funding,
right?
And we believe that once all I need to do to get the funding from a particular, maybe a venture capitalist or a private equity firm or some other kind of angel investor, before we can get money, I need to hire a co-founder that is a tech guy, and we need to do this, and I hire you, and we do this, and this, and then it gets to funding, and we find out that there is no investor. That was fraud. That was like a Ponzi scheme.
Right.
The guys who we thought would give us money. Yeah, that guy is a fraudster. And maybe the EFCC has cut him up. Obviously, that's not something any of us contemplate. So that is what you can now consider as a mistake. So I don't know. I think that is the best illustration
of course.
I can think of.
Yes. So, Mr. Madi, if a contract is cancelled because of a mistake, what happens to third parties? Now we're talking about a third party who did not have an idea of the mistake already. Now what happens to the third party who may have already relied on that contract? For example, someone who just bought a property from the original deal.
Yeah. In such a situation, the law still protects the third party.
Right.
So the third party will have to be settled. For instance, in a situation whereby the third party paid money to purchase a particular product, they will have to refund the third party. Or in a situation whereby the third party is in possession of a property, he has to return it. So the law protects the third party, and whatever comes out of the whole issues, the third party must be protected. It's either through restitution or compensation.
But in Nigeria today, sometimes a person buys a land without even knowing that the land is defective.
Yeah.
Now, in situations like that, what happens? Because a lot of people would go get a land from buy a land. At the end of the day, they'll find out that there's a problem on the land. Now, a lot of people, and they don't know what to do. Now, in that case, does the law still maybe say, oh yes, you refund them this money and all that?
Of course. But some of these cases are not even cases of contractual mistakes.
Okay.
Some of them are fraud.
Outright fraud.
Or lack of due diligence.
Lack of due diligence, but majorly, we have a lot of fraudulent people in Nigeria, both real estate and others. They come pretending that they are real estate and there is a land in existence. But at the end of the day, you find out that there is no land in existence
at all.
They take you to a land and show you the land, and you make payment.
After taking papers.
Give you papers, and you discover. So some of them are actually outright fraud that even the police can even prosecute them for fraud. And on the other hand, you can also sue them, some of the real estate companies. There are a lot of cases against them in court.
Yes.
A lot of them. So you can sue them to recover your money.
Yeah.
In fact, there was a case we did recently. They showed our client a house to buy. So he started paying. After he finished his installment of payment, so after making the payment, it now happened that they got another person to buy that house at a higher amount. The land appreciates.
Yes.
So, like a house you buy 10 million naira
Yeah.
in 2020, in 2025, shockingly maybe 50 million naira.
Times 3 or times 4.
So they just wanted to take advantage and make money. Then they now want to show the man another place. So we said no. You give us this land or nothing.
Yes.
This house or nothing. So, but they were not trying to play around. We took them to court. At the end of the day, they said they now accepted for settlement, and they gave us the hand.
I thank you so much for pointing that out, because I believe that many Nigerians who are third parties to agreements do not know that the law, you can go to court and the law is by your side. You can go to court and seek redress,
Of course.
and ask for your money back and ask for restitution and all that. So thank you so much.
So, sorry, in addition to the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection
Right.
Agency, they are also working. I've had a couple of cases where they also assisted consumers, Nigerians, to recover different things, whether land or other, So you can also make a complaint to them. You go to the Federal Consumer and you can also approach a lawyer to take up your case.
Right. I have a comment on YouTube right here. Someone is saying, one Onyenwa Chika is saying Nigerians have a problem with reading. I think you mentioned that, and even if we read, some documents use hidden legal terminologies. How do we cancel a deal when we finally discover that something is wrong? Mr. Tomo, I don't know if you can answer that.
The first thing is, don't go into a deal without a lawyer.
Okay.
That's the first thing. So that, and then I think I should speak to lawyers too.
Right.
As a lawyer, do away with all of the brandishing and grandiose legalese. Just stick to simple terms. That's the best trick to every contract. Contract 101.
Right.
Draft in the simplest of terms.
Yeah.
That common man language. Draft it like that. Don't. I know sometimes as lawyers they urge to just show off.
We want to show.
Yes, we want to show. But you show off, you create a room for ambiguity.
Yes.
And once there's ambiguity, there's problem
Right.
in the courts to interpret. The court, we're even saying go to court. The court is a slow process.
Right.
Everybody knows this. So the first thing is, don't go into a contract if you do not have a lawyer. That's the first thing. No matter how you think, you've even used some AI to summarize, and just involve a lawyer, if not for anything, just to know that, okay, you have a second voice that surely has more information and experience around contracts and that business of contracts. And then you find yourself in such a situation where you've already signed a bad contract. It's not a question of is it a mistake. I'm sure if you've listened, you understand the difference between a mistake, whether a fact of law, a contractual mistake, as different from misrepresentation or fraud. So if it's misrepresentation, you can go to court, and beyond rescission, you can both rescind the contract. You can also request for damages. So unlike maybe a mistake where, okay, maybe if you spend some money, you'll be refunded the money. I don't know how we've never used the examples of some of these very trendy real estate deals with Sujimoto, P1 real estate, where we have stories of selling receipts.
Right. Instead of land.
Yes. It's not even enough that your money is refunded.
Clear fraud.
It's not enough to get your money refunded.
Yes.
So, and that's the beauty of what the courts can do and what maybe some of our social media jungle justice advocates, or let me also say, the guys that have actually stood up for us, I'm very proud of a lot of them.
Yes.
Because we're seeing results, and everybody's seeing results, seeing their process, they're carrying Nigerians along when they call out some of these brands. But imagine a situation where you gave the example, you bought land at a certain time and you believed your money has been cooking. Yes. You thought your money was cooking somewhere, and at the time when you want to start eating, you now find out you want to start cooking afresh. The courts are there to ensure that you don't only get your money, you get the value of the land at the current time. You even get damages for stressing you out, for the emotional despair. So at the end of the day, the courts are there, and yes, our judiciary is very much there to stand against fraudsters, persons who are just out there to defraud Nigerians.
Right.
I believe that.
Of course, true. Restitution is meant to restore both sides
Yes.
to the original position.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Now, Mr. Amadi, finally, this is the final question. Like, what happens or what steps should people and businesses take to avoid falling into contractual mistakes in the first place? And how can lawyers, in particular, protect vulnerable groups and citizens like young entrepreneurs and upcoming artists from signing one-sided or exploitative agreements?
Okay, thank you very much. I think first of all, number one thing I would recommend or advise is this: Nigerians, every Nigerian must understand that he or she needs a lawyer.
Yes.
You need a lawyer. You know, I don't know how to actually explain this, but I comment on posts on social media, different blogs when there are illegal issues. I discovered something that Nigerians, I don't know whether it's from our educational system or is from our level of IQ. Nigerians don't want to know.
Nigerians are smart, please.
I don't
it's not
know.
like you issue.
No, like, I don't know. Maybe we need to change our curriculum.
Right.
Like sometimes when you are telling people, look at your right, they don't even want to believe it's their right.
Some people think that laws don't work in Nigeria.
Yes.
I feel like that's one of the problems that Nigerians are having.
Yes.
Because if you go online and you hear them, they will tell you laws don't work in Nigeria.
So why try?
So why try? I believe that's the problem.
No, the issue is this. Let me take for instance, if you go to United States of America, I have friends that are practicing there.
Right.
Do you know they know the law just like you know as a lawyer? They know their right.
In fact, they are getting you as a lawyer just for the
They
formality.
get your right because they know that you are going to go and represent. They know their right.
They know
For
their
them
right.
to approach you means they know that. Do you know a US citizen is ready to sue you because of 1 naira?
Of course.
But here in Nigeria, a lot of people, even when you are talking to them about their rights, okay, let's go to court. I want to do it free for you. They don't want.
You can't cry more than the
I'm telling you. You know, and let me take for instance, recently there was a dispute. So I said, and police is a stable dispute.
Right.
The police went and arrested the person. So I commented that this is a contractual dispute and it's not within the jurisdiction of the police to enforce a contract. If there is a contractual dispute, it is the duty of the court to interpret. You get your lawyer and go to court. Some people said, what am I talking about? Now, the police have the right over every case.
It's coming out fraud. They have the right over everything.
No, this is
They have lawyers with them.
For instance, let me tell you something. Let me say, there's a contractual dispute. You said I should. Let me take for instance, I should build a house for you. I build your house. You're saying it's not according to the standard you wanted. It is a dispute.
I mean, yes, that's an issue.
You understand? It is not a crime. It is different that I gave you money to build a house. You ran away with the money.
Oh, okay.
You did not build a house.
Okay.
When you are now talking about issue of quality and standard based on the contract we signed, it becomes a contractual dispute. It's not the duty of the police to enforce it. We have seen a situation where in Nigeria now, but even EFCC are even interfering in issue of intellectual property, trying to collect people's royal master. You know, these things happens because we as people, a lot of us are lackadaisical when it has to do with enforcing our rights. So first of all, we need that mental consciousness. If you meet a police officer and the person is telling you, I want to exploit you, and you tell the person you don't have that right, I'm going to call a lawyer, that person will back off. That is the reason why immediately you meet a police and they are doing this thing, you open your phone to record them. They will run.
We'll leave you alone.
They will leave you alone because they know that you are conscious of your rights. The way to battle some of these issues is being conscious of the rights and being willing to also challenge. So as a Nigerian, you need a lawyer. Secondly, you need to do proper search.
Due diligence.
Due diligence. Whether through your lawyer or
by yourself.
yeah, or by yourself. You don't need to, before you buy a house or a car, you need to go and verify if the land has C of O or R of O. You need to verify. You need to, if it's a company, you need to verify whether this company is registered with CSE.
They're just minimum due diligence.
You know, this minimum.
You even check their Instagram and say, these guys look sketchy.
Yeah.
Like, and you can see from the comments, from the interactions, from the engagements. And so I think I want to add a comment that there's a culture thing. Yeah, it's a culture issue. But one thing that has not helped it is the government disposition. Because like you said, when there's a society that believes the law doesn't work, what you get is, why do I need to try? So they ride on you. From the most menial thing itself, you're having an engagement with, say, a mechanic, and the guy is just defrauding you. In most cases, you just leave him. Be like, the stress you take you to go and get this guy into the police station. You need to spend money there too. Let me just go and look for another guy. Like, these are the little things in our everyday interactions, and the average disposition of many Nigerians, except some that want to say, I must fight for my right, which is the right thing to do. But everybody wants to just chill. Do you understand? So I think the government has a responsibility to show the country that the law actually does work. And one of the ways to do that is by showing that the law is above, everybody is beneath the law, no matter how high up you are. By the activities of government, by the disposition of government, you must just show that we're in a society where the courts will be respected, the law will not be disobeyed. I think that will go a long way in helping reviving the culture, where the average Nigerian just
feel safe.
And knows that he can actually enforce his rights. In due time.
Mr. Ahmad, did you have anything to say?
Yeah, I think we have all said it. The whole thing has been said. So let's build the culture of conducting due diligence and of consulting a lawyer is very vital. It's very vital. Like the question the person asked on YouTube, whether how will you understand the law when there are legal terminology. The truth is that there is no way you will not find legal terminologies in contracts. There's no way. There are some terminologies that you cannot change, even with plain language.
Of course.
For instance, let me say contractual review. When you see it in a contract, it's a plain.
Even the names are assigned or assigned.
Some of this language. That's why you need a lawyer. Even for instance, as a person, there are some contracts some lawyers send to me to help them review based on my level of experience.
Yes.
Some people, for instance, I do IP, I do entertainment. It's not every lawyer that does that.
Yes.
Some lawyers do criminal.
Yes.
So even lawyers don't understand some of these issues, because to understand some of these issues, you also need to understand the subject matter. So talk more of you, a layman, trying to understand it. Sometimes it may look plain, but the interpretation may be different from what you are actually thinking about. And another thing is this: the question she asked about what to do.
How to cancel it?
To cancel it. Yes. Now, if you sign a deal, for instance, I always insist in every contract, whether it's whether it's tenancy, employment, entertainment, any contract, I always insist. I always advise my client to insist on adding a contract review clause. The contract review clause, what it does for you is it gives you the opportunity to renegotiate the deal.
Right.
Yeah. There is also a clause for termination of the contract. So these are some of the things that some of these parties may intentionally remove. But when you have a lawyer, the lawyer can actually help you to add it, to give you an advantage in case of tomorrow. So that's what I would advise.
Right.
Get your lawyer and make sure some of these clauses are there, so that in tomorrow when you have realized that Omo, I'm making money now, I need more. You can review.
Right. Thank you so much. Prevention is really better than cure. Reading carefully, negotiating terms and renegotiating terms, and also consulting a lawyer before signing an agreement can save people from a lot of regrets in the future. Thank you so much, Mr. Amadi and Mr. Toma, for being here. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And to the viewers, remember, contracts shape parts of our daily lives, from businesses to employments to even entertainment. Always take the time to understand what you're signing. And when in doubt, please consult a lawyer. Join us next time on Justice and follow us on our social media handles as LJ Nigeria. And until then, bye.
What are we saying? Stop the The land we call home, the source of our life, our food, and our future. A conflict that tears at the very heart of Nigeria.
We see the pain, the shattered lives, and the broken trust. But what if we could mend what is broken?
LJE Nigeria invites government officials, traditional and religious leaders, farmers and herdsmen representatives, security agencies, civil society organizations, international development partners, and the general public to a 2-day national conference themed Securing Nigeria's Future, addressing the root cause of herdsmen-farmers conflict through justice and inclusive dialogue. Date, 30th September to 1st October 2025. Venue, Shehu Musa Yaradua Center, Abuja, Nigeria.
Join us as we address the root causes of this conflict through inclusive dialogue.
We will not just talk.
We will listen.
We will not just debate.
We will seek to understand.
Together, we will find solutions.